Hello, this is Michael from PG Mustard. I am going to be showing you some easy ways to get nicely formatted query plans from psql. So we've got that open here, and we are going to do this because it can be tricky to get nicely formatted plans, especially in JSON format or non-text format specifically. So to do so, we are going to run explain analyze with on a simple query here. It's a little bit more complex than it looks. So we'll get a few nodes to our query plan, which is important for the structure. And we're going to run explain with a bunch of parameters, which I recommend. So the first one here doesn't specify a format, so it's going to be the default text. And let me expand that, and you'll get an idea for what these look like. Now, because I've used verbose, these are the header's really large here. There's also a little bit at the bottom to tell us how long this was or how many lines it was. And then you'll see these nicely indented arrows here. So if we copy paste that into a text editor, I've got one open just here. We can see these like nice indentations for each child operation, and the level of that indentation tells us which nodes or which operations are children of which other operations, which is really important for calculating per operation timings. However, there is a bit of cruft at the beginning and end, so if you really want this to be nice and neat, you can turn tuples only off, or sorry, on. And you can see that has, so this time we haven't got that query plan bit at the beginning or the number of rows at the end there. So pasting that into our text editor, if we get rid of that, yeah, nice and easy. Still with all the same nice indentations here. So text format's relatively straightforward. Some other shells can break lines, but psql respects those nicely. So that should work in all tools. Obviously I'm from PG Mustard, so I can show it working here. We actually support all of the cruft from psql as well, but that should work in any tool that's similar. And if you ever need the source, you can get it back down here. So yeah, that's the basics of the text format. The things get a little bit more interesting if we look at JSON. So by adding this format JSON here to the parameters for explain, okay, we can already see a bit of chaos. So if I could copy and paste this. What I'm going to do first actually is just turn verbose off quickly, because that's kind of hiding the problem here. Great. So by turning verbose off, I've not got output columns, which end up being really long, which means we can see that these plus characters are kind of a nice formatting thing that psql is doing to help us. And so you can see it's an alignment thing, trying to show us how wide the longest of our rows is. So this, unfortunately, if we copy paste it, is not valid JSON. So if I copy the whole thing into our text editor, these break our, strictly speaking, the JSON format. Now, tools like most of the visualization tools you would use handle this nicely. They just parse them out basically. But if you look at source, we just include everything you gave us in that, just in case for any reason that's important. So in this case, it doesn't matter for PG Mustard, but if you want to use this JSON for anything else, you want to parse it yourself for anything, or just to clean up all the white space, or I don't know why you want it in nice format, you can do so by toggling alignment. So if we request that again, look how much nicer that is. So we can copy paste. Now you can already see, even though our query plan isn't that complex, well, we're talking a few, maybe like 10 nodes, it's already getting quite large. So in a moment, I'll show you an easy way of copy pasting this. But for now, you can see it's nicer already. In fact, let's look at it in our text editor. There we go. So much less white space, none of these line ending characters, and actually this is JSON finally. So that's nice. One final thing that I wanted to show you is we do also have the option in psql to set variables. So if you don't want to type explain all of this each time, or you don't have an easy place to copy it from, you can do something like this, probably in your like psql rc file or something, so you can reuse it between sessions. And then if we can reference that with this colon, so colon EA will reference a variable EA, which is our full explain with all the parameters, and then we can run our select query. So let's do that here. And you can see that's the text format. If we did that again, if we in fact, that the reason that's text format is because our EA is text format, so that works nicely. I'll show you how to do that in a different way as well. But yeah, well, actually, I personally don't use this. I have a text expander. I just have EA mapped to. With a different character, but yeah, you choose your own adventure there. We can, in some tools they also give you these, so we make it easy to copy paste from here. This will generally be, we'll keep this up to date with a version that will run in all supported or community supported versions of Postgres. So going back 5 years, if you're on a kind of latest and greatest Postgres version, maybe 17 plus here, so as of recording, 18 is the latest version. That's what we're using here. You can also just copy and paste it from here. So again, this doesn't include the format JSON or any other formatting you want, so it'll come out in text format by default, but you can change it, of course. So yeah, that's the main bits. Now, if we do have an alternative way of getting these, if we run psql like from a script, or if you want to automate this in some way. Let's go back to our text editor. Oh, actually, sorry, last thing I should have shown you while we were in psql, let's go back, is we can, instead of getting the output here in the terminal, we can output it to a file. So if we run again, we haven't got our variable because we didn't set it locally. Here we go. We didn't get any output, so where has that gone? It is in our out.txt file. You can see this again has the nonsense in it. That's because we've started a new psql session. If we toggle tuples and alignment, then run it again, we should get a version below that is without all the nonsense in it. Great. So yeah, nicely formatted to a text file, might be a bit easier, especially for huge query plans. On that note, let's also leave psql and call it as if we were calling it from a script or similar. So I am going to use, so capital A is the alignment we did and T is tuples. X is a nice parameter that we can use to ignore any local psql rc settings, which is valuable so that this will run the same no matter what machine we're on. So if somebody happens to have a different psql rc or different, like staging has different psql rc to production for whatever reason, this is a nice way of ignoring all of that and just running the query, and it will act the same on any server. So that's quite nice. This will output it here in JSON format, nicely formatted. And I've got another version using, because I'm on a Mac, I can use pb copy, and that will pipe it straight to my clipboard. So again, no output here, and we can just paste it. So nicely formatted JSON, ready to go. So that's one of my favorite ways of getting query plans in nicely formatted query plans from psql. But of course, depending on where you're using it and what you're doing, you might prefer one of the previous ones. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope that helps, and yeah, good luck.